it came to my attention that I think we really need to make sure and focus on that if we are doing online sessions, which it's more and more and more prevalent, and I'm going to get into the numbers, actually, I find them really interesting, that we need to be doing them right. And at the end of today's video, I have just a few little tips that might just tweak your online sessions if you're already doing them and make them that much better. So I think that online sessions for hypnotists and other healthcare and wellness appointments is a new normal that we are going to have to adjust our lives to and become really proficient at, so that we can be a part of that growth in that area.
You know, I got to tell you, I like that new normal thing. And when you got a new normal, if you want to be a really great hypnotist, then you've got to bring it to a new normal excellence, right? Beautiful. Keep going.
Well, in the old days, maybe before pandemic, we often thought that online appointments weren't as good. And there may have been times when the technology for many people, or the accessibility, really wasn't there. But nowadays, with the accessibility of smartphones, laptops, webcams, Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts, or whatever, all of those things make online sessions so much more viable that many more people are taking the chance and trying it out. In fact, the numbers say, and so I'm going to read this. It's really interesting. People are much more willing to do online sessions now than they ever were before. In fact, I've seen a host of apps and things that are coming out right now to help people manage their mental and emotional wellness. There's scores of them, even ADHD management and coaching, all on apps and online. So it's really prevalent. Now, the numbers that I found say that less than 1% of medical appointments before pandemic were online, and now it's over 10 to 15%. And that's just wellness. The numbers in mental or emotional wellness is much higher. In fact, the numbers I have say that in 2020, the number of people using online remote mental health and emotional wellness was 49%. And then 2021, it grew to 59%. And in young adults, from 18 to 29, it was 66% of people using online services.
Well, I love those numbers, because I mean, it takes it out of just, well, I think this is what's going on, right? It makes it more objective and something we can be confident in. And I'll tell you, when I first started doing online sessions, it was way before the pandemic. I had people who wanted to see me from out of the country and whatever, and some would fly in, but then it was like, okay, I've always been very technological anyway, and I've been teaching courses online for like 12 years or something like that. So doing online sessions was just an automatic thing. And you know what happened? I love it. I love it. I have some very good reasons why it can actually be better. Maybe it's not as good as, some reasons why it can be better. And I think you're going to go over some of those things. But I want to say one more thing about something you already said. You say the pandemic forced a lot of people online. And you know what? Then they started to like it, because now online used to be very much a younger person's thing. But you know what? When grandma and grandpa found out that they could talk to their grandchildren in another state, then they fell in love with online too. And so you're going to have all ages that are now able to effectively use online platforms like Zoom, for example, right? And so it is not the future. It is the now. In fact, some people are going to say, what, you don't offer online sessions? What century are you in? And you will not be perceived as a modern professional unless you can do online sessions excellently. Perfect. Go.
Absolutely. I actually read some research numbers about seniors, actually, now that you mentioned it. And lots of studies, of course, show that people do much better with online sessions. Sometimes I'm going to get to that, but seniors were 30%, 40%. They because of mobility, they can't get out of their homes or time, or they can't drive. They're much more likely to seek online or remote or virtual sessions now than they ever have been, and they do really good. And of course, like I said, all the mental and emotional wellness services, the numbers are even higher than they are for medical. So if you aren't doing online sessions, you need to get online right now, because that is where your clients really want to be. In fact, I would say close to 75% of my local, geographically local clients are online right now. And it is a matter of you do online sessions, right? Because they are actively looking for it. And I'm talking of generally women in the age ranges of 35 to 50 for me. And they are all looking for online sessions. They don't have the time. They don't want to make the time. They've got jobs, they're working from home. They just want to meet online. It is the now. So I wanted to talk about too, a couple studies about why people do better online and what you taught me in your certification course. So if you're interested in doing online sessions and you're not sure how to do it, you should check out Cal's certification course, because he wrote the standards for the NGH to be doing online hypnosis sessions. Did you want to take a second and talk about your course?
Well, I just real quick, I want to say in the very beginning, I'm one of the main committees for the National Guild of Hypnotists, and this topic came up, and there was a lot of people going, "Oh, that no good, bad, bad, bad." And I say, "Look, I don't care if you like it or anything, but it's starting to happen, and the NGH needs to move forward and delineate and outline what an excellent professional online session looks like." And myself and Dr. Reverend Scott Giles, another leader in the profession, said, "Yeah, I'm doing them too." And so we got put in charge of it. I had already been doing it expertly for a long time. And so I took the lead on that. And they went through a process of making it into something that was really good. And of course, then I taught how to do sessions online, and boom, it's like in probably 3 weeks, I had trained 100 hypnotists online how to do online sessions. Then I was asked to write up the final way, the kind of the accredited, not accredited, the official way to do the online sessions for the National Guild of Hypnotists. And it's just been full blast ever since. That one of the things I did is, once that course was polished, then it was recorded in video form, so you can get the certification to do online sessions on, guess where, calbanyan.com. And if you have any questions, just give our office a call and we can set you up. By the way, our training materials that are video training, you can get them either as physical items or you can get them as streaming. And also, if you purchase a physical item like this, you also automatically get it as streaming. So, I mean, that's the world we live in, so that you can get your training on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, on your laptop, your Mac, whatever. What a great time to be alive. What a great time to be alive. All right, back to you.
All right. Thank you. And I took Cal's certification. I do adhere to those NGH standards, and they're excellent. His course will teach you exactly what you need to do. And that's not what this video here today is for, to tell you exactly all the technology and how to set it up. I will be covering a few fun advanced tips for you, but let's talk about why a client, not just for mobility's sake, or not just for they're not geographically by you, might choose to do an online session. First of all, there's been a lot of studies that show that people do as good, a lot of times better, in online sessions. They are not exactly 100% sure why, but they theorize that it's one, that people feel more comfortable in their environments, and two, that they feel more able to disclose things to their online practitioners than they do in person. It actually helps your clients be more forthcoming in their thoughts, their feelings, so that they can get more efficient, more successful hypnosis.
When I was in graduate school, my master's thesis was on using, this was like in 1991, okay? I mean, I've been technological, using computer distancing, okay, to facilitate self-disclosure, okay? And so, I mean, this is something that has been proven. Distance like that facilitates self-disclosure. And another thing that's, I hope I don't step on your next step here, but one of the things that I think it works better is when people come into my office and experience the transformation, then they must take that transformation home. What if they made the transformation in their home? You see?
Yeah.
So it's just they own it. They're in their home, and so I think that's another really big benefit.
You're absolutely right. I think you're talking about what we call state learning, right? When you learn or when something happens to you in a particular environment, you can repeat it more easily in that environment. So study in the place you may take the test, you could get better on that test. Same principle. And I absolutely agree that the barriers to having change in a place that's unfamiliar is then you have to apply that change in other places and in other environments, and it is harder cognitively for the client. So there's a lot of benefits for your clients. They really want it. It's where everybody is. And also it helps the hypnotist. And I think we all know why. It's a lot less expensive to have an online office than it is to rent a room, to have an entire building or suite of offices. Some of you might choose to do that and still have online sessions, but most people starting off, most entrepreneurs, they are trying to, save a few pennies where they can. And this is a huge expense that you don't have to offer really great sessions to clients. You can just save that much money and get a really professional online session.
Awesome. That was always one of the big barriers to getting started. Oh, I got to get my office, and then I have to get that approved by the city, and then I have to get what do they call certificate of occupancy and all that kind of stuff. And hypnotists, by in general, are people persons, right? And that all that kind of stuff can just boggle them down. And so unless they have like a spouse who will kind of take that over, that kind of thing. So all you got to do, right now, you already have everything you need. I mean, if you're watching this, you have got a device, right? And if you're watching this, you have an internet connection. All you have to have now is some light and a reasonable, not distracting background, and you're ready to go. I mean, I've done sessions in front of a blank wall because it just needs to be not distracting. And here's a little secret. Sometimes, I do sessions in my office, right? But when I do my podcast, you know what's back there? Back there is a picture of my office and a green screen. Oh, yes. So that, which is cool, because if a client sees me in a podcast like this and then goes to my office, they go into the physical environment that they anticipated. So, but your office can be a picture. Or it can be
Absolutely.
a blank wall. All right.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. So now that we know how great it is, now that we know why we should be doing it, we know the benefits to the client and the hypnotist, I want to talk about a few advanced tips to doing some online sessions that you might not thought of it. And I think they're kind of funny because the very first one that I have for you is make sure that your client's laptop is plugged in. I think sometimes our clients think they don't understand the battery burden of video conferencing with someone for an hour to an hour and a half. And unfortunately, it has happened to me. So that's why I'm passing on this tip to you. Make sure your client understands to plug in their laptop.
And to put it on something sturdy.
Yeah.
Because you're in hypnosis, right? And they move or something, and then all of a sudden the tablet or whatever falls on the floor, and now I'm staring at the ceiling.
I've had that happen too, where the tablet fell over and it was, oh my goodness, all over but the crying. You have to reset it all up. Now, remember, hypnosis isn't fragile. You can get up and do a lot of things in hypnosis, but if you didn't have to have that disruption and you could avoid it, that would be optimal.
Yes. And, if I probably would not have if they're in hypnosis and stuff, and I'm not having them do physical things, like lift their hand and drop it and stuff like that, I don't need to see them. I'll just.
Yeah, absolutely. That leads into next tip, because you're right. As long as they have some good headphones with a microphone attached, you kind of don't need to see your client. So if the laptop did tip over, it wouldn't be a big deal. So that's tip number 2. Make sure your client has headphones with a microphone. The worst thing that could happen to you, well, maybe not the worst thing, but one of the bad things that can happen when you're doing online sessions is if they start off facing the camera, but for any reason at all, move their head and their mouth is not directed right at that webcam microphone pickup, you're going to have a really hard time hearing what they're saying. So you might have to have them reset it, or you might have to ask them to speak up or repeat themselves, which again is just not efficient. It's not professional. And so if you just can insist with your client to have either Bluetooth or corded headphones with a microphone by their face, you're going to be really grateful that you did, because they're going to be able to turn their head in any direction. And we all know that that's going to happen in hypnosis. You're going to have reliable audio the entire time, even if the tablet falls over.
Perfect. Love it. Hey, I was another thing that happened to me the other day. So I'm online with someone. Okay, it wasn't just the other day. It was like, in the winter, the days are shorter. And we started off the session. He didn't have a light on in his room. It was just all window light. And then it got dark. And it just watched him slowly fade to black. So now I always say, do you have a light on in the room? Go ahead.
There you go. That's a good tip too, especially if you're doing dusk time. So third tip, I love this one. Learn how in Zoom, and I'm sure there's ways to do it in other platforms, learn how to hide self-view and teach your client how to do it. See, we all know that when you're on a Zoom meeting, because we've all done them, you have that little thumbnail of yourself. And you can't help but look at it, and it makes you self-conscious, but you're always checking your hair and you're always adjusting and scratching your nose. It gets very distracting. And I know that they're going to eventually close their eyes probably, but if you teach them how to hide their self-view, they can feel really comfortable doing that. They will actually be more able to be less self-conscious, less distracted, and be able to just focus on what you're saying. So I do that a lot in almost all the meetings that I'm a part of, because, a lady can't help but just look at herself in the mirror, and we always want to check, make sure we look good. So teach your clients how to hide self-view.
I like that. Cool.
Yeah.
How do I look?
You look great.
Okay. Yeah, you too.
All right. So that's what I have for us today. Is it all right if I start closing up?
You close it up.
All right. So you can find me, Kimberly Lorenz, board certified hypnotist and certified professional hypnosis instructor, at my website, lorenzhypnosis.com. I think Cal's going to put a link in the description for you. I am doing a training coming up in April. I do have openings for new clients if you're interested. So if you're interested in any training or services for me, just go to my website and contact me that way. Schedule a free consultation. I would love to see you in class. I would love to hear from you. I would love to help you. Thank you so much, Cal, for having me here today.
Thank you so much. I know that everyone loves having you on the program, and I look forward to doing more with you. And I want to just say something to everybody out there, that Kimberly is a trainer. She's able to teach our course. You want to be a 5-pather, then and especially if you live in her neck of the woods. What state are you in?
I'm in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, okay. All right. And I'm Cal Banyan, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. And you can get all my stuff on calbanyan.com. And I've got classes too. And I see clients, but I'm very, very busy, so I don't have a big client load, so it's not always easy to get in to see me. All right, that's it. Love to see you guys. Love to see you in class. This is Cal Banyan, signing off. All right.